Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 5th June 2020, and these are the articles we'll be dealing today. The first article for the day is taken from the Live Mint and it is titled Let Us Prepare for the Great Reset of Modern Capitalism. So this is regarding the concept of stakeholder capitalism. So this idea is proposed by the World Economic Forum, and let us have a look at what this stakeholder capitalism is all about. The major economic framework in the world right now is capitalism, where multinational companies are looked at as the primary job creators. So in this context, the role of corporate boards has become more important than ever because, say for example, you have a company like Google or Amazon or Microsoft, Facebook, all these technocrats or technocratic companies and the technological problems that they create or they are trying to solve become very crucial for governance in our times. Whether it is the example of cyber security, whether it is about data security, all these are interlinked to social media, and the technological, environmental, geopolitical problems and the transformations that we are witnessing in the past 20 years makes it very crucial to understand the role of multinational companies and the framework of capitalism, where we generally look at the profits of shareholders or the people who invest in that company as the prime motive for driving growth in an economy. However, considering the present COVID crisis, this is an opportunity to look at what the World Economic Forum has been advocating from a long time, a move from the conventional shareholder capitalism to stakeholder capitalism. So in particular, these transformations are making environmental, social, governance and data. So all these domains, E, S, G and D, they are considered increasingly important for companies' financial performance and resilience. Because take the example again of COVID-19. Unless and until the companies invest in long-term environmental conservation, somehow they will be responsible for whatever is happening today. Because most of the climate change is happening because of the anthropogenic changes, and capitalists are more or less responsible for this anthropogenic changes. So whether it is the aspect of social equality, capitalists gain a lot of wealth at the expense of the labor that they employ, and it is only fair for the governments to expect some responsibility from the corporates to extend social security benefits to its workers. So it is not right in this setup to expect the government to do everything. That is the central conception behind this idea of stakeholder capitalism. So given the fact that we today have to develop financial performance and at the same time ensure that we are resilient to external shocks like the COVID, the world across we are witnessing a change in rhetoric wherein stakeholder capitalism is being advocated. So this broad change is eroding the distinction between the shareholder primacy model, that is something that focuses on financial and operational costs and benefits. I am investing this much, how much return I am getting. This is the shareholder primacy model. But if you take the present conception that World Economic Forum is proposing, that is the stakeholder capitalism, it says that we also have to take into consideration environmental and social costs and benefits. So issues that were previously considered not necessary for MNCs are now very important. For example, if you take the case of information technology, without the expertise of private companies which have expertise in IT, we could not have handled the epidemic like we are doing today. Similarly, it would have been impossible without internet to open up the economy today. So therefore, private companies play a major role in the post-COVID world as well. Another example would be where climate change, water management and other aspects of environment are increasingly recognized as the bottom line issues in a world where technology, regulation by the government and other features of the environment where everything is changing so quickly become important for the MNCs to take up ownership. If MNCs don't take up ownership, there is no way that we can come up with a solution that is conducive for everyone. So, in the context of the economic recovery plan that was proposed by European Commission, the chief of World Economic Forum comments that the 750 euro billion recovery fund is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So, the 750 billion euro funds should stimulate growth not just for the short term but also for the long term, and it should be equitable. And according to him, for this once in a generation opportunity to work, they should create a very different system. That system should be the stakeholder capitalism. Now, for this to work, there should be certain metrics. So, all the decisions that the government should take should be driven by metrics, that is data driven governance. For that to happen, we have to first invest in data gathering mechanisms that are inclusive, and the metrics should change their ways in tune with the changing times. So, we have an opportunity to use the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, that is IR 4.0, where we are talking about big data, we are talking about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. All this will create real time data. So, during this crisis, many companies, universities and others have joined their forces for vaccine development. Now, this is possible because of the vast developments in data sciences. So, all these examples point to the fact that if we have to open up our economy and enter into a new world, we cannot go about with a business as usual approach. We have to change our ways, and we have to take into consideration every other human being and other life forms as well. We have to grow in a sustainable manner so that we are leaving future generations some breathing space. So, it is in this context that we have to ensure resilience to environmental shift and resilience to climate change as the driving factors for any form of future growth. That is the gist of this article. This is a very important concept, and you can apply this concept in your essays, you can apply this concept in your GS3 answers as well. So, please make a short note on this concept. The second article for the day is taken from the Indian Express, and it is titled An Agenda for G12. So, before starting this article, let us try to understand the concept of the Group of Seven, or commonly called the G7. So, in 1976, after the global oil crisis has ended, this G7 was formed, and it was a intergovernmental economic organization consisting of the 7 major economies. What are those 7 major economies is important for prelims. So, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and the United States as well as United Kingdom, which were some of the largest economies as per IMF at that particular point of time, were part of this grouping. However, if you take the situation now, G7 is no longer the dominant force in the global economy as they were at the time of the formation of this group. So, in 2014, Russia, which joined the grouping in 1997, was expelled. This is because Russia has occupied Crimea. So, in 97 it became G8, and again in 2014 it became G7. Now, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, feels that we have to bring in more number of partners onto this forum to make it more effective. So, he is proposing the idea of G12 by including various other emerging economies. So, these include Australia, India, South Korea and Russia. So, these are the probable members who would be added. So, apart from these, even Indonesia, which is the largest democratic country in the Islamic world, can also be a part of this organization. So, what is the possible impact? Inclusion of Russia into this grouping makes this whole forum a a club where free market democracies would be discussing various issues regarding economics. So, this inclusion of Russia also gives an advantage to this group because there is a possibility that this group might be dubbed as anti-China. To avoid that, inclusion of Russia is very helpful. Even though this is the way in which US is handling China, its intention is quite obvious. By including Russia, it isolated China. If that was not the intention, USA might have as well used the G20 forum. It is very much required to discipline China in this present scenario because of the disrespect it is showing to the international law. However, we have to take care of not isolating China rather than disciplining. However, here care should be taken that China is not completely withdrawn from any activity in the Asiatic region because it is one of the most important player in this region. So we need a country like China that is law abiding rather than a completely isolated one. So the focus of the most of the countries like Japan, Australia, which have serious concerns about China's behavior, should also try their best not to be viewed as a part of an anti-China gang up. Even India should be very cautious because India has more issues with China than most of the others in the grouping. We have various issues like economic security, national security issue, and at the same time we would prefer a disciplined China but not an isolated one, given the position of China in Asia's geopolitics. So what should be the agenda of this new grouping? First one is to ensure that China adheres to the good global behavior it used to exhibit before the present President Xi Jinping. Second point should be to make China agree on a global response to the COVID-19 pandemic. It also should do its best to stop this present trend of protectionism as well as mercantilism. So these are some of the issues that have been plaguing the world trade from the past few years when Donald Trump has taken over as the President of United States. So the next one is the economic slowdown that is one of the most worrying problem of this world right now. So the summit will have to come forward with some international do's and don'ts list to deal with the challenges posed by these disruptions. That is the gist of this article. That's it for the day.